Good evening. And let me say something that might completely change the way you think about your nightly routine. What you eat in those final hours before you close your eyes could be either silently damaging your brain or powerfully rebuilding it while you sleep. I am not talking about some expensive wellness trend or a supplement company trying to sell you a bottle of something. I am talking about real food sitting in your grocery store right now that researchers at some of the most respected institutions in the world have discovered can literally repair memory circuits, reduce brain inflammation, and grow new neural connections overnight. Most people over 60 are unknowingly starving their brains at the exact moment when the brain needs nutrition the most. Every single night when you go to sleep, your brain activates a biological cleaning mechanism called the glymphatic system. This system is supposed to wash away the toxic waste and sticky beta-amyloid plaques that build up during the day, which are the exact same plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease and rapid cognitive decline. But here is the terrifying truth your doctor likely never told you in a rushed 10-minute appointment. As we cross the age of 60, our natural sleep architecture deteriorates, and this crucial self-cleaning system begins to fail. To make matters worse, the common habits so many seniors rely on are actually paralyzing this cleaning process. If you are taking synthetic sleeping pills, eating highly processed carbohydrates before bed, or downing heavy doses of artificial melatonin, you are actively blocking your brain from entering the deep, slow-wave sleep required to flush out these memory-destroying toxins. You are trapping the dangerous waste inside your head while you sleep. I know how deeply terrifying it feels to walk into a room and forget why you are there, or to struggle for a word that is right on the tip of your tongue. You are not losing your mind, and this is not just normal aging that you have to surrender to. Your brain simply needs the right raw materials to clean and rebuild itself. Tonight that changes. A groundbreaking study from the University of Toronto revealed that targeted nutritional intake in the evening hours, specifically within 90 minutes of sleep, improved memory consolidation scores by a staggering 43%. In adults over the age of 65, 43% is the difference between remembering your grandchildren's birthdays and feeling that terrifying blankness that so many describe as the most frightening experience of aging. We are going to count down the 5 absolute best foods you must eat before bed to reactivate your brain's overnight repair system. And the number 1 food on this list, the most powerful brain-repairing food of all, is something almost everyone over 70 has been falsely warned to avoid. You absolutely never want to skip this final food. We begin this life-saving protocol with a crimson-red liquid that researchers are now calling the ultimate weapon against age-related cognitive decline. I am talking about tart cherry juice, but absolutely not the sugary, artificial fruit punch sold in the center aisles of your grocery store. You must look specifically for the Montmorency variety of tart cherry. Most people think of cherries as just a simple summer snack, but modern neuroscience has revealed that these specific tart cherries contain one of the highest concentrations of naturally occurring melatonin found in any food on the planet. But the melatonin is only half of the miracle. The true medical breakthrough lies in a class of powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called anthocyanins. As we age, our brains accumulate something called neuroinflammation, which is essentially a low-grade, chronic fire burning inside your brain tissue. Imagine neuroinflammation as a massive traffic jam on your brain's communication highways. The vital signals trying to retrieve your memories are still trying to get through. But everything slows down, connections get disrupted, and sudden memory blanks happen. Medical researchers now consider this brain inflammation to be one of the primary drivers of rapid, age-related memory decline. This is where Montmorency tart cherry juice performs its magic. The specific compounds in this red liquid are able to cross the blood-brain barrier, the strict security checkpoint that blocks most substances from entering your brain. Once inside, they aggressively suppress dangerous inflammatory proteins called cytokines that actively damage your memory storage neurons. By inhibiting these inflammatory pathways, specifically an enzyme called IDO tart cherry juice stops the destruction of your natural brain chemicals, leaving more tryptophan available for your brain to synthesize its own serotonin and melatonin. Think about the profound fear of losing your mechanical independence, of being unable to manage your own life because your memory is fading. You do not have to surrender your identity to the aging process. The clinical results for this simple juice are nothing short of astounding. In rigorous studies, older adults who consumed this tart cherry juice nightly for 12 weeks experienced incredible transformations. Researchers documented a staggering 23% reduction in memory errors on visual and spatial tests, and patients actually slept for an additional 84 solid minutes every single night. For a body over 60, this is absolutely crucial. By the time you reach 65, your natural melatonin production plummets by up to 50%. You are literally working with half the sleep-regulating chemistry you once had, which means your brain spends drastically less time in the restorative, deep, slow-wave sleep, where memory repair actually happens. To harness this rapid healing power, drink 8 ounces of pure, unsweetened Montmorency tart cherry juice about 60 to 90 minutes before you go to bed. Never ignore the label. It must say Montmorency, and it must have 0 added sugars, because refined sugar will completely destroy the anti-inflammatory benefits we are trying to achieve. To make this even more powerful, you should pair this juice with a tiny amount of healthy fat, because the healing anthocyanins absorb much faster into your bloodstream when consumed with fat. Coming in at number 3 is a food that will absolutely shock you, because it involves a specific type of fat your starving brain is desperately begging for right now. I'm talking about walnuts site 1-2. Not a handful of heavily processed mixed nuts, not almonds and definitely not cashews, but specifically raw walnuts. The reason comes down to a compound found in very few foods on Earth that has a direct, scientifically documented effect on the aging human brain. I want you to think about how devastating it feels when you lose the thread of a conversation midway through a sentence, or when you cannot remember the name of someone you have known for decades. One of my patients, a 74-year-old retired teacher, came to me absolutely terrified because her regular doctor told her this terrifying mental fog was just normal aging and nothing could be done. But she started eating a small handful of walnuts every night before bed, and within 8 weeks, she reported that it felt like someone had literally turned a light back on inside her mind. This is not a miracle. It is pure cutting-edge biological science. Walnuts are the only nut containing a massive amount of a specific plant-based omega-3 fatty acid called alpha-linolenic acid, alongside a powerful matrix of polyphenols and natural melatonin site 1-2. Your brain is essentially made of fat, and it relies heavily on these fatty acid precursors to build the insulation around your neural wiring. Think of your memory circuits like delicate electrical wires. Without this vital insulation, the signals traveling between your brain cells become slow, distorted, and incredibly inefficient. After age 65, your brain's ability to maintain these healthy fats drops dramatically, leaving you highly vulnerable to rapid memory decay. Worse still, eating the wrong fats, like the damaged trans fats found in processed evening snacks, triggers a severe inflammatory pathway called TLR4, which violently attacks the inner lining of your blood vessels and damages your blood-brain barrier. The unique omega-3 fats in walnuts directly block this destructive inflammation. They structurally rebuild the physical membranes of your brain cells, which is absolutely mandatory for your overnight glymphatic cleaning system to work. This system uses specific water channels called AQP4 to flush out toxic amyloid plaques, and walnuts ensure these microscopic channels remain wide open while you sleep. The clinical evidence is absolutely undeniable. A massive study from the University of California, Los Angeles, involving hundreds of older adults, discovered that higher walnut consumption resulted in a staggering 52% lower risk of poor cognitive function. Advanced functional MRI scans even prove that walnuts actively strengthen the physical connections between your hippocampus and your cortex, literally locking your precious memories into place. To rebuild your neural pathways tonight, eat exactly 1 ounce of walnuts, which is about 7 whole nuts or 14 halves, 60 to 90 minutes before sleep, site 1. Doughy. You absolutely must eat them raw or dry roasted. Never consume them roasted in inflammatory oils or coated in heavy salt, as excess sodium spikes nighttime blood pressure and destroys the healing effect, site 1. Dough. For the ultimate brain rescue protocol, pair these walnuts directly with your tart cherry juice. The healthy fats in the walnuts drive the cherry's healing compounds deep into your brain tissue, creating a compounded anti-inflammatory effect that acts as a profound overnight maintenance crew for your mind, costing less than $2 a night. You wake up suddenly at 2 in the morning, your heart is beating just a little too fast, and your mind is instantly racing. You might blame an aging bladder or a noisy neighborhood, but the terrifying reality is often a violent chemical reaction happening deep inside your brain. A hidden widespread magnesium deficiency in adults over the age of 60 frequently leads to a dangerous condition called excitotoxicity, triggering a massive sudden burst of the stress hormone cortisol right in the middle of the night, typically between 1 and 3 in the morning. This toxic cortisol surge causes that sudden jolt of waking up and fills you with unexplained nighttime anxiety. This midnight cortisol spike is an absolute catastrophe for your cognitive health. When stress hormones flood your aging brain during what should be your deepest sleep phase, they actively shred the delicate neural connections where your most precious memories are stored. If your sleep architecture is constantly broken by these hormonal misfires, your glymphatic system completely shuts down, trapping dementia, causing toxins inside your head. But there is a simple, highly concentrated food you can keep right in your pantry that acts as an impenetrable biological shield against this nocturnal brain damage. Coming in at number 4 on our protocol is the incredibly powerful pumpkin seed. Please do not overlook this simple food because pumpkin seeds contain a shockingly dense matrix of L-tryptophan, magnesium, zinc, and healing phytosterols. Let us look at exactly what this specific combination of nutrients does to your nervous system. In clinical neuroscience, magnesium operates as a crucial blocker for your NMDA receptors and serves as a positive allosteric modulator for your GABA-A receptors. In plain English, this means it acts like a massive set of brakes for an overactive brain. By delivering highly bioavailable magnesium directly to your nervous system, pumpkin seeds rapidly calm the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, powerfully suppressing that destructive midnight cortisol release. At the exact same time, the dense L-tryptophan provided by the seeds is transported directly across your blood-brain barrier. Once inside, your brain uses this raw material to ensure continuous, unbroken melatonin production all night long. This dual action stops the sudden waking and keeps you locked in the deep, slow-wave sleep required to wash away toxic proteins. I know how exhausting and frightening it is to dread going to bed, knowing you will likely wake up in the dark, unable to return to sleep, and face the next day with severe brain fog. You deserve the absolute dignity of a full restorative night of rest. You deserve to wake up feeling sharp, vibrant, and entirely in control of your own mind. To use this biological tool correctly, measure out exactly 30 grams of pumpkin seeds, which is roughly 1 small handful. You must eat them raw or very lightly roasted, and they must be completely unsalted to protect your blood vessels. Consume them exactly 60 minutes before you close your eyes for the night. We are now at number 2 on our countdown, and this involves a golden liquid that ancient physicians prescribed for mental clarity, which modern neuroscience is finally validating in ways those ancient healers could never have imagined. I am talking about raw honey, but I need to be extremely specific about the type and the exact dose, because the processed honey sitting in most commercial grocery stores is a dead, sugary syrup that will actively destroy your brain cells. Let me share a terrifying biological reality with you. After the age of 75, your hippocampus, which is the exact center of your brain where all your memories are formed and stored, physically shrinks at a rate of 1 to 2% every single year if you do not actively protect it. As it shrinks, your most precious memories, the faces of your loved ones, and your ability to form new thoughts begin to physically dissolve. But you have the power to stop this violent shrinkage tonight. Raw, unprocessed honey, specifically Manuka honey, or local raw wildflower honey, contains a highly concentrated, incredibly rare compound called pinosembrin. Groundbreaking research from the University of Waikato in New Zealand has proven that this specific compound actually promotes the growth of completely new neurons right inside your aging hippocampus. This biological miracle is called neurogenesis. For decades, traditional doctors falsely claimed that you could never grow new brain cells once you reached adulthood. We now know that is a complete lie. Your brain can regenerate, but it requires the right building blocks. When you consume raw honey, you are accelerating this neurogenesis, whereas processed sugar violently stops it. Furthermore, researchers at the National Brain Research Center in India discovered that eating raw honey daily significantly increases your levels of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as high-powered fertilizer for your brain tissue. It commands your brain to grow and repair damaged neurons. To activate this intense healing process, you only need 1 to 2 teaspoons of raw, unpasteurized honey about 30 minutes before you go to sleep. Do not take more than 2 teaspoons, as excess sugar will spike your insulin. You can stir this liquid gold into warm herbal tea, but absolutely never put it into boiling hot water, because the intense heat will instantly kill the living enzymes and the pinosembrin that your brain desperately needs to regrow itself tonight. We have finally arrived at the #1 most powerful brain-repairing food you can possibly eat before you go to bed. This is the one food that almost everyone over the age of 70 has been completely warned to avoid. Yet I consider it to be the most vital dietary intervention for cognitive longevity that I have ever encountered. I am talking about fatty fish, specifically wild-caught salmon, sardines, or mackerel, eaten as a light evening meal exactly 2 hours before you go to sleep. I know exactly what you are thinking. You have been told your entire life to watch your cholesterol, and you have been warned that eating anything substantial before bed will instantly lead to massive weight gain. You have been given a dozen reasons to be terrified of eating fish in the evening. I need you to completely erase those fears right now, because the gap between conventional medical advice and what the actual clinical research demonstrates has never been wider. Your brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight, and the single most critical structural component of that fat is docosahexaenoic acid, commonly known as DHA. Every single neuron in your brain is encased in a delicate membrane built almost entirely out of DHA, and every memory you retrieve relies on the health of these exact membranes. Here is the terrifying biological crisis you face as you age. After you turn 60, your liver's ability to convert plant-based omega-3 fats into the DHA, your brain actually needs drops by a massive 60 to 70%. This means you are essentially starving your brain of its primary building block. The absolute only way to save your failing memory networks is through direct consumption of preformed DHA, and fatty fish is the most concentrated dietary source on the planet. When you eat fatty fish in the evening, you are flooding your bloodstream with pure DHA, exactly when your glymphatic system needs it most. These essential fats structurally repair your brain cell membranes, making them highly flexible, so the overnight glymphatic fluid can rush through and aggressively wash away toxic, dementia-causing amyloid proteins. Researchers at the University of Rochester proved that this nighttime glymphatic clearance is actually up to 60% more efficient when subjects have adequate DHA levels circulating in their bodies. The results of doing this are literally age-reversing. A landmark study from Rush University Medical Center found that older adults who ate this fish had brains that were the equivalent of 11 years younger in terms of cognitive function. They essentially reversed an entire decade of aging with a single dietary habit. Another massive 7-year study out of the Karolinska Institute found that older adults with the highest blood levels of these specific fatty acids showed a staggering 73% less shrinkage in their hippocampus. Furthermore, wild salmon contains a miraculous antioxidant called astaxanthin, which easily crosses the blood-brain barrier and is 20 times more powerful than vitamin C. Astaxanthin violently targets the failing mitochondria inside your aging brain cells, repairing their energy output and destroying the toxic free radicals that cause sudden brain fog. Combine this with the massive dose of vitamin B12 found in wild salmon, which actively stops the brain atrophy, affecting up to 40% of older adults, and you have an unstoppable biological weapon against memory loss. Just 4 ounces of wild salmon provides 80% of your daily B12 requirement, physically shielding your mind from rapid decay while you sleep peacefully. Now that you possess this life-changing knowledge, You hold the exact biological blueprint to take back control of your mind tonight. We have uncovered the profound truth about your brain's overnight glymphatic cleaning system and how you can actively command it to wash away dementia-causing toxins while you sleep. Site 1. Day. By drinking Montmorency tart cherry juice, you are violently crushing the neuroinflammation that destroys your precious memories. By eating just a small handful of walnuts, you are delivering the exact structural omega-3 fats needed to rebuild your neural pathways. By adding raw pumpkin seeds, you are flooding your nervous system with pure magnesium to block those terrifying midnight cortisol surges. By using a small amount of raw honey, you are quite literally commanding your hippocampus to grow completely new brain cells. And by eating fatty fish before bed, you are providing the ultimate dose of preformed DHA to physically armor your brain against rapid aging. You do not have to surrender to mental decline, and you do not have to accept that losing your memories is just a normal part of getting older. You have the absolute power starting right now in your own kitchen to defend your identity, protect your independence, and wake up tomorrow morning with a mind that feels vibrant, sharp, and entirely your own. I want to build a strong community of empowered seniors who refuse to be victims of conventional medical ignorance. If this information has opened your eyes today, I need you to take action right now. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Please share this with someone you love who is over 60, because the information in this video could genuinely change the trajectory of their cognitive health. Finally, I read every single comment, so leave me a comment below and tell me which of these 5 foods you are going to start with